Let's say you have a newborn child or grandchild and you decide to open a bank account for this child. And then you make sure you deposit, you never miss. You deposit $100 every month into that account until the child is 18. Well, what you have created is an annuity, and annuities are the topic of this video. Before we continue, I would like you to familiarize yourself with these terms. So pause the video and take a look at these. We will go over each one of them as we move through this video. What is an annuity? An annuity is quite simply nothing more than a regular sequence of payments. In this diagram, we see that each payment has a value of R. So R could be 100, 200, 300, whatever it is. That is a payment being made at regular intervals. So it is very important to note that these intervals have to be equal. It could be a month, a year, whatever, but they are regular intervals. They're equal intervals of time. The accumulated value of S is equal to the sum of the dated values of these payments. So bear in mind, you can't simply add up these values to see what the accumulated value is, because all of these are dated values. Examples of annuities are insurance payments, mortgage payments, rent, payments on installment purchases, and dividends. So just to make sure it's clear, the payment interval is simply the time between two successive payments. So this could be a month, 2 months, a year. It just depends on the terms agreed to when the annuity is established. The term of an annuity is simply the time between the beginning of the first payment interval. So this is the first payment interval, and this, of course, is the beginning of it. And this is the last payment interval, and this is the end of the last payment interval. So, quite simply, the term of annuity is from here to here, that time. If the term of an annuity is fixed, then that annuity is said to be an annuity certain. That means for that annuity you know the dates of the first and the last payment. So in this course, this will be the default and should be assumed if not otherwise specified. If it is not established what the term of the annuity is, then it is said to be a contingent annuity. So a perfect example of this is life insurance. Life insurance premiums are paid every month, but nobody collects until the person who is insured passes away. And that, fortunately, is usually something that is uncertain. So a contingent annuity is one whose term is unknown. It's exactly the opposite of an annuity certain. These are the terms we have covered so far, so pause this video and make sure you understand what these mean. Note that for a given interval we can pay either at the beginning or at the end. So an ordinary annuity, which is the kind of annuity we'll be looking at, is an annuity in which the payment is made at the end of the payment interval. If it's made at the beginning, it's said to be an annuity due. Now, this diagram doesn't quite correspond with an annuity due, because for an annuity due, the payment will be made at the beginning of the payment interval. A deferred annuity is simply one in which the first payment is made at some later date. So far we haven't been talking about the interest or the interest period. But note, we have payment intervals and we do have interest periods. For now we look at the simple case in which the interest period coincides with the payment interval. When that happens, the annuity is said to be a simple annuity, as opposed to a general annuity, in which case the interest period does not coincide with the payment interval. So this diagram does not reflect that And that's because this is the diagram we'll be using most of the time, because we will for right now be working with simple annuities. So this diagram represents a simple annuity. If it were a general annuity, this interest period would be smaller or greater than the payment interval. The accumulated value of an annuity. This is very important and it will be the topic of our next video. The accumulated value of an annuity is simply the equivalent dated value of the entire set of payments. Remember, these are dated values, so you can't simply add these up. As we showed when we studied equivalent values, we have to move each of these to the focal date, in which case the focal date will be this date. And so we will look at how we calculate the accumulated value. Of importance also will be the notion of the discounted value. And the discounted value is the equivalent dated value of the set of payments, but at the beginning of the term. So the accumulated value is the value at the end, and the discounted value is the value at the beginning. Here again are the terms we have discussed. I urge you to pause this video and make sure you understand each and every one of these. So what comes next? Well, in the next video we will look at how you calculate the accumulated value of an ordinary simple annuity. So make sure you understand what we mean by the terms ordinary and simple. And here we have the expression we'll be using. Don't feel intimidated by it. It's quite easy to understand. This term here, which is expressed by this term over here, simply means the accumulated value if you paid $1 every time you made a payment. And so if you're paying R dollars, you simply multiply what you get here by R. Anyway, we'll discuss this in much more detail in the next video.